In September 2022, Europe faced a major energy crisis. It needed to find new sources of gas to keep prices from ballooning out of control.
We are facing an extraordinary situation, not only because Russia is an unreliable supplier, as we have witnessed over the last days, weeks, months, but also because Russia is actively manipulating the gas market.
In the meantime, the European Commission had to act fast to stop this becoming a lot more expensive.
We have now to limit this inflationary impact of gas on electricity and everywhere in Europe. This is why we are ready to discuss a cap on the price of gas that is used to generate electricity.
But that was easier said than done. Diplomats involved in the negotiations to get member states on board said they were mired with impossible demands. But after months of negotiating, white smoke. A deal to cap gas prices in Europe was agreed for the very first time. Russia's war in Ukraine caused gas prices in the EU to soar to more than $350 per megawatt hour. With these new rules, the price would be capped at nearly half that. The decision to introduce the price cap was historic. A message from EU leaders here in Brussels that energy blackmail from Moscow would not work. But despite months of wrangling and haggling about how low to set the cap or exactly when it might kick in, it never did. In the 2 years since the price cap was agreed, prices never got high enough to trigger it. We asked the European Commission if that means the cap was a bit of a waste of time.
It was absolutely not a waste of time. The situation in the market is calmer. Our member states are much more robust. We have diversified our sources. We are no longer dependent on a single supplier.
Gas prices in Europe have fluctuated dramatically since the start of Russia's war in Ukraine. But Europe isn't nearly as dependent as it was 3 years ago. Before the war, the EU got more than 40% of its gas from Russian sources. Today, that number is closer to 10%. And while prices have fluctuated, they haven't spiked anywhere near the level hit in the immediate aftermath of the energy crisis. But consumer rights groups say that although the cap itself was never triggered, it did have a positive impact. Used or not, the end of the price cap could indicate the end of Europe's energy crisis, a quietly historic moment at the end of very volatile times across the European Union. Alex Cadier, TRT World, Brussels.